Eloise Asylum was a living hell.
There's something here.
You can't understand the haunting without understanding the history. Thousands of patients died.
And not everyone left.
This place has all the markings of a dangerous haunting. I want to find out exactly what they've experienced.
All right, I'm trying to connect.
Let's have the waste.
Is there anyone here with us?
My hand just got cold. It's starting to feel like we're picking a fight
Something rushed up behind me.
with something we shouldn't be messing with.
Guys?
Are you okay?
And the deeper we get,
Look at this.
The haunting started here before Eloise was here.
the more I have to wonder, are we the ones looking into Eloise, or is Eloise looking into us?
Something's done.
Oh my God, you're bleeding.
We need to get everybody out of here now.
Secrets of the Asylum, streaming now on Fox Nation. Sign up at foxnation.com.
And we're live.
Good evening, all you beautiful people. Yeah, my hair's kind of a mess tonight. It's actually finally starting to grow back after I shaved it, so it's at that weird stage. Kind of starting to get the devil horns going on.
So tonight it's week 1 of Eloise Asylum shows. This week we have Jenny, who is a lead paranormal investigator, tour guide at Eloise. And then next weekend we have Stephanie and Scott Porter on to talk about the show that we just watched. Just a little intro to what we're diving into for the next couple shows.
Sounds good to me.
So let's
bring.
What?
I can't argue with that. I mean,
do a deep dive into Eloise. Is one of the most haunted locations in the U.S.
Well, except it's located in one of the states that Ohio people are trained to hate from a very young age. So, I mean, go Bucks.
Okay, I don't know.
It's sports. It's sports. Don't worry.
Okay, I was gonna say it must be something sports because I don't know. And I'm super excited because I will probably be hitting up Eloise Asylum in just a few weeks. So I'm kind of deep diving into it just for my future visit.
Yeah,
hopefully.
go hang out. Don't really hang out there.
Oh, I can't spend the night? Is that what you're saying?
No, you can spend the night as much as you want to. Just don't hang out there. I mean, I kind of need somebody to produce the shows.
Oh, you can't do the show by yourself? Is that what you're saying?
I look like a third grader with an echo sketch.
I can't go hunt Eloise and scare people who come in investigate now? Is that what you're saying? I can't go.
No, because I know I'm one of the first people on your list when you pass away. I'm like, oh, you're a haunt. And you just do it just to fuck with me. I can guarantee you.
Yes, I would. That I would. Because, you fuck with me every time I see you in person. So.
Yeah, well, wait. You're on my list too, so.
Payback's going to be a cruel joke if I pass before you. But let's bring on our guest, Jenny. She is, like I said, a lead paranormal investigator, tour guide at Eloise. She is full of knowledge about the history and the paranormal claims of this historical location. So
I think Jenny was enjoying herself in the background back there, listening to us going back and forth with each other.
Probably.
See her over there laughing.
Yes. Hi. Yeah, especially when you said "Go Bucks."
Hey. Sorry, born and bred. I bleed gray. Scarlet and gray. I bleed scarlet and gray. Come on. You can keep your maize and blue up there, all right?
We definitely will. Definitely will. So, hi, guys.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Good. How are you guys?
Thanks for joining us on such short notice. I know we kind of have a little snafu. John was supposed to be with us originally, but
he's not feeling good, so
push comes to shove. We get the next best thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I love talking about Eloise. So
why not?
What brought you to become a tour guide at Eloise?
So I went on a tour. I've always known about the building, living in Downriver. So when they offered a tour of it,
Michigan, any help? Downriver, okay.
Yeah. Still better than Ohio. Anyways, so when they offered tours of it, I went on a tour. Loved the building. fell in love, wanted to learn more about it, started looking into the history, and then they posted that they were hiring tour guides. So I went on an interview, and lo and behold, I got the job. It's been about 4 years now, almost.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I heard John got their location for only $1.
Correct. He
Jeez,
did,
what
yes.
a lucky guy. I want to
Yeah.
find a location for $1. That'd be
I
awesome.
know, right? Lucky find. And but yeah, it's an amazing building. I mean, it operated from 1839 to 1982. Started off as a poorhouse farm, and it turned into asylum and sanatorium. It housed thousands and thousands of patients, roughly about 10,000 and 2,000 staff in its heyday. But yeah, it was its own facility. I mean, it had everything. It was its own working area. It had its own postal code. The name Eloise actually came from the postmaster's daughter. That's where they got the name from. But yeah, that's a good picture. And but I mean, they had everything. Yeah.
That picture right there actually really reminds me of Hillview Manor in Newcastle, Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Kind of the way it was set up and everything like that. Like like those back in the day, the poorhouses were made to be self-sufficient.
Yep.
So
Yes. Yep. And Eloise was the same. I mean, they had everything on there. They had a working farm, they had a man-made lake, I mean, they had a firehouse, they had a schoolhouse, they had everything that you would need as, patients staying there. And that's why, a lot of asylums back in the day get slack for patient treatment. And I'm sure there was no shortage of that at Eloise because, of course, it was overran. But I mean, they did a lot of good, I believe, with their patients also. They tried to help them. I mean, they extended according to what patients needed, how many patients they had. They would add stuff, all that kind of stuff. Like, I really believe that they really tried to help people.
Now, there wasn't any sort of like sordid history behind Eloise of like, hydrotherapy or shock therapy or experiments on patients to.
Not experiments. We did have hydrotherapy. We did have shock therapy. Eloise was at the time the biggest psychiatric unit in the United States. They were the first forerunners of a lot of therapies, music therapy, X-ray therapy. I mean, they did a lot of stuff first.
See, they were already trying to get Michigan football out of you guys. They were trying to help with that.
And I gotta say, Michigan's good at a lot of things. So, but they did a lot of firsts. Music therapy is one of my favorite because as a paranormal investigator, I like to use the music box. I don't know if you guys are probably familiar with that. And it's actually very receptive in Eloise, and I think that's because they used music therapy there at the time. So I believe a lot of patients find comfort in music, and I think that's why we get so many reactions with it.
Now, when you say music therapy, are you talking like the old swing music? Or are you talking like the World War II era music? I mean, I can't imagine you're walking in there and playing a bunch of death metal and like having a mosh pit experience.
Definitely music fitted to that era, but it was, they had a piano. So, and the piano is actually still located in the building. It's a beautiful piano. I love it. It's sitting right in the entryway when you walk in. So if you get to go, Jenny, definitely check out the piano when you get there. They also have a lot of the medical equipment on display that was found in the building. So definitely make a point of looking at that. But the music therapy.
Jenny, I'm using some of that medical equipment on her.
Well, me and one of my friends who are investigators there, we bring in our own equipment sometimes to show guests and that kind of thing. And she actually has lobotomy tools to use as trigger objects.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I did a trigger experiment at Hillview actually one time, and I actually a nurse friend of mine was actually able to get me a saline bag and the IV tubing and everything, and the hospital gown and everything to go with it. And I actually dressed up in the hospital gown, made it look like I had the IV running, and I was just walking up and down the halls.
Did you get anything out of that?
Some really good activity.
Okay. Yeah, it's amazing. what you can get from trigger objects, and I think that has a lot
yeah.
to do with the residual type of
Oh
energy.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that just brings out memories of what happened. There was one time on the 5th floor on one of my tours. I like to have people in solitary confinement rooms, and usually we all split up, shut the door, and go completely silent and dark. And at one point, the room I was in, we were, calling out to nurses, acting like we were patients, that type of
Yeah.
thing. And we actually heard what sounded like heels clicking on the floor.
Like
Oh,
a nurse
wow.
coming down to you.
Yes. Yep.
Yep.
So that was a pretty cool experience.
The only
Yeah,
place I've ever had
Mm-hmm.
that happen to me was actually Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
Oh, I want to go there. I have never been there, but I want to go because
That's on one of my
My
lists.
buddy
too.
and I, we were there for one of the public investigations. We were the only people on the floor. And the way they have Tala set up is it's like a horseshoe design. There's only one way in and one way out of each ward.
wow.
And we got away from the group. We got to our own floor. We were sitting in the middle of the hallway, completely blacked out. We were just talking, and all of a sudden we just start hearing footsteps coming down the hallway. And those cement marble floors, you
Yeah.
very distinct.
Oh yeah.
And it literally got right within earshot of us and like walked right past us. And him and I are just sitting there like,
Wow.
okay, that
Wow.
just happened. And this was his second ever investigation he ever been on. So he was
Wow.
still kind of new to it, but that happening to him that night kind of cemented it for him. Like, okay, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And that's crazy. But I mean, I love hearing things like residual hauntings is one of my favorite things. And there's a lot of that at Eloise, I believe. We get a lot of sounds and a lot of things happening that that especially staff would have done there on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
So just to think of how much energy is in that building and just pent up, and even the littlest thing can trigger that memory to start replaying. It's pretty amazing.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's what also leads me to my whole theory about how, everybody says, oh, you have to go on an investigation at night. No, you really
No, you
don't.
don't.
If you think residual energy and the residual hauntings that are going on, it could be 3:00 in the afternoon.
Oh, I've gotten activity during the day when I've been at Eloise. I've heard footsteps. I've gotten EVPs. I've had doors shut. Like I've gotten it, and it's never felt threatening or anything. It just feels like someone's going about doing their normal daily routine.
Yeah,
Routines,
exactly.
yeah. So
Yeah.
like, how big is Eloise right now? How many buildings are on the property, and like how many floors in the main building?
So in the main building, we only have, in the main building, there's a total of technically 6 floors. The first 2 floors are used in the haunted house, and then we investigate on floors 2 through 5. And then of course there's the small room that leads up to the roof.
Okay.
Eloise originally started with 78 buildings. It was a little over 900 acres.
Wow.
Yeah, it was huge. And but now there's 3 buildings standing, but one that is actually active that we go in and have investigations and everything in.
Okay. And then I know like in some of the history, especially in Scott and Stephanie's show, they talk about like a pond. That pond's no longer there, correct?
No, not really. I mean, there's some remnants of it. It's across the street from Eloise.
Okay.
But I don't believe you can access it any longer.
I just look like an idiot here. I'm like over here, like trying to look at the picture. I'm like, where's a pond at?
It's not in that picture. And actually, one of the really, really cool stories that I can relate to the pond at Eloise, me and another investigator, Lauren, we're doing an SD session on floor 4. And I was talking and she was listening. She couldn't hear what I was asking, but I was asking, who are we talking to? And I got a female. And I said, were you a patient here? And she said, yes. And I said, did you die here? And she said, drowned. And I said, did you drown in the bathtub? And she said, and the words were split, but she said, pond across street.
Oh, wow.
And I said, okay. And I said, were you admitted here? And she said, yes. And or I said, were you admitted here? I'm sorry, by a loved one. And she said, yes. So then I went home later and I was looking up News Herald articles of like past, deaths just like that.
Mm.
And I came across a teacher that was admitted by her husband and she committed suicide in the pond across the street.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Now,
That was pretty
that's
amazing.
a hard suicide to do, suicide by drowning, because your natural fear kicks in and you like react.
Yeah, struggle
Yeah,
to
you
breathe.
reacted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that would be what I've always said. That would probably be one of the worst ways to die. Would either be burning to death or drowning.
Drowning.
Yeah, and there was actually a lot of if you go through the News Herald articles, there was a lot of drownings in that pond.
Oh, jeez.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
They never thought to put up a fence or something. That's
Yeah, I mean, they made a pond to make ice to be more self-sufficient, ended up turning kind of around the other way. So
Yeah. So for people to get admitted, what were some of the like common things they would get admitted for? I know like mental illnesses.
yeah, well, a lot of it too, they didn't understand back then. So something as easy, as stuff that, I mean, not easy, but stuff that we know today and can have medicine for and a doctor can just prescribe, such as anxiety, bipolar, just those types of things that you hear more often nowadays would get you admitted back then. If you read too much, you could get admitted. If you were overly religious, you could get admitted. I pulled up a list one time and it was pretty outstanding. Some of the claims that could get you admitted for. If your husband wanted to be with another woman, he could admit you.
Oh, wow.
It kind of seems like the same thing with Tala, where it was one of those, if you were seen to be quote unquote no use society, whether it be overconsumption, whether it be I think one of the things I saw, because like when you do a public investigation at Tala, they kind of do something cool and they give you like a certificate and like, this is the reason you're being admitted and, things like that.
Yeah.
And they give you a list of all the reasons back then, like what you could be admitted for. And it was like excessive reading, like, things like, and forgive me, women out there, I don't mean this to be in a misogynistic way or anything, but like some husbands couldn't deal with their women or their wives at that time of the month. So they're like, hey, take her.
Yeah. I mean, I read once spending too much of your husband's money or disobeying your husband could get you admitted. And yeah, it was pretty crazy, the things that you could get admitted for. And back then too, a lot of the predominant families, if you had a child that was born with a deformity or someone in the family had a deformity, that was looked down upon society. So a lot of times they would be admitted they could be completely 100% mentally okay, but just because they had a deformity, they would be admitted.
Oh, wow.
Gotta love how your family start to mess you up even before you even get a chance to walk.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, well, and a lot of times it's because they're worried about what society thinks. I mean, that played a huge part in it. They had to keep that.
Days it was your family name and everything, and if you had somebody out there calling one of your kin a freak or something like that, that was kind of like a black mark on the family. So if they could ship you 100%. Away, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. Just like they would at like Rolling Hills, like with what's
Roy.
the tall one? Roy. Yeah.
Roy.
Yep. He got admitted.
Gigantism.
He was, giant.
Yeah, and that's one thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
There's like a little bit of a lag, so if I cut you off, I don't mean to.
No worries.
But that's one thing about Eloise too, is I've done a lot of reading into different asylums and institutions like that. And one thing I've noticed about Eloise is they don't mention a whole lot of like experiments on patients. They don't mention a whole lot of like, I mean, you go to like Waverly Hills and you hear how they were trying to take ribs out of patients to help with tuberculosis, which not saying anything bad. They were doing the best they could at that time to try to help people.
At that time too, if you're taking ribs out of a tuberculosis patient, they're only thinking at it in the medical standpoint of, oh, hey, less bone for the rib or for the lungs to expand to.
Yes.
So if we take out these ribs, it'll help the lungs expand more to get more air. So, I mean, I kind of get where they're coming from with that, especially with it being all new medical procedures. I mean, the TB was something that America was not prepared for, just like COVID.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, and that's where I get where they were coming from, wanting to try all these different things. I mean, there was so many different experiments they did, but that was one thing I never read up on Eloise was them doing different experiments. Like they did, the basic ones to try to help save lives. They also had the tuberculosis tent outside. So they right away separated the patients because they knew how it was so easy to catch.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what I read upon too. Is they had that TB tent and stuff.
I'm still here. I'm still on mic, but I'm just not on camera. I'm actually like Googling something in the background right now to try to find something here. So continue.
Was it true that X-rays were kind of like done for us at Eloise, or was that somewhere else that I read upon?
Yeah, well, it was like they had an extensive X-ray lab, and they did do X-rays at Eloise. That was one of the things that they started.
Okay. I know in Scott and Stephanie's show they talked about a little girl who I believe had epilepsy or some kind of seizure disorder and died in the
bathtub. Yeah, the hydrotherapy tub. Yeah, her name was Harmonia.
Harmonia. Okay. Can you talk about that for people who don't know that story?
Yeah, she was young, early teens, and she had epilepsy. She was admitted. She was being treated in a hydrotherapy tub, and the orderlies walked away. She had a seizure and she drowned. Yeah, the only remaining hydrotherapy tub was on the 5th floor. That's where criminally insane men were held. So it is to believe that she would have been on the 3rd or 4th floor. Every floor at Eloise did have, at one point, a hydrotherapy tub.
And is she known to roam the building?
Not to my experience.
Okay.
I have never had any interactions with her.
Okay. So what are some of the spirits that you do know of that roam Eloise?
We've gotten a few names that have come up every so often. Steve is one of them. We haven't been able to attach him to anything.
Okay.
We get him pretty much on every floor. We do know there's said to be what is claimed to be a little girl on 2. She has come through to a couple people. Her name was Sophia, but again, we haven't been able to attach that to any sort of history of documents. But yeah, and then we have what I like to call as the residential hat man. So he's actually been photographed on every floor.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, so that's actually pretty interesting. Never interacts, just is always in the background. We catch him in photos, videos, that type of thing. But typically hat men are not known to interact. They're like an entirely different type of entity to shadow figures and all that.
They're a watcher.
Yes.
They like to just stand back and watch.
Exactly. They're known to kind of control the surroundings. But we have caught him on a ton of different photos. There has also been plenty of shadow figures seen. There was said in the basement to be a rather aggressive gentleman type spirit. I never really came in contact with him, but that's what's said to be. Yeah, that's pretty much the only ones I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay.
Now, Jenny, as you know, okay, there is a lag here for a second.
There is a lag today. I don't know why.
So, as an investigator or somebody that is in a location frequently, Jenny, both Jennies, Jenny 1 and 2, you all have those locations where there's a spot you feel overwhelmingly comfortable in, but there's also a spot you are like, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm not. I don't feel comfortable going there. I don't want to go there. whatever. Now, do you have those spots at Eloise?
Comfortable spot, I would have to say probably floor 3. The floor is, I've been on every floor by myself, and floor 3 is, I can walk around. I'm fine. It doesn't creep me out. It doesn't really anything.
Now,
That's also the floor.
What was floor 3 used for?
So floor 3 was usually used for like family planning. They sometimes had children on that floor, just that type. It was kind of a mild. I mean, they had patients on there, but it was nothing super extreme.
Yeah.
And we've had some experiences when it comes to equipment going off and everything on that floor, but it's not a floor that I've really ever felt uncomfortable on. Floor 5 makes me very uneasy. So I will be on the floor by myself, but it's one of those ones where you always feel like something's right at your shoulder, just kind of glaring at you.
Your head's on a swivel the entire time.
Yeah, that floor definitely has.
Now, 5, you said, was the men's violent?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, criminally insane.
Yep.
Is floor 5 the one that I think her name is Jessica from Josh's show that got like hit?
She got scratched on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they
That's
also
I'm excited to go.
Now, sorry. Never been scratched on the floor or anything. I've never felt like something was gonna hurt me. We do have a really cool experience, and I wish I had the picture close by to show you, but we did catch what looked like a figure behind someone I was doing a live with, and it looked like he was peering over her shoulder, and I was told that he was not happy that we were there, that type of thing. But I've never been touched or hurt or anything. You just feel very uncomfortable on that floor.
Well, I know which floor I want to go hang out in when I go next month.
Bonnie, please, by all means, lock her in one of the padded rooms and come to get her.
You're mean. Remind me to, play some joke.
I have caught some of my coolest EVPs on the 5th floor too, though.
So what kind of
screaming and things like that?
Yeah. So we were in solitary confinement. We were down in this room where it's rumored that a gentleman was admitted and he hit his head so many times on the floor he passed away.
Really?
Yeah, so we went into that room to do a session. It was me and another woman, and we asked, do you want us to leave your room? And you hear very clearly afterwards, yes. So, of course, she looks at me and is like, oh, well, are we going to leave? And I'm like, yeah, no, let's keep asking questions.
No, we're gonna stay here. We're going to keep doing what we're doing.
Investigators are a sucker for punishment. And but we didn't get anything after that. And then me, another investigator, Lauren, and Kirsten, who also works at Eloise, were in the middle of floor 5, and we were trying out a step tracker. So it measures the vibrations in the floor. And we were trying to see if we could get it to light up. And Kirsten said, you want to race, I'll race you. And I heard clear as day right behind me. They were standing across the hall from me, but I heard clear as day right behind me, yes. And it was a male voice. And I looked at them. I didn't say anything. I just looked at them, and they didn't respond. So then when we got done filming, I was like, you hear me at the end of the video? I'm like, did you guys hear that? And they said, hear what? And I said, well, this is what I thought I heard. And when I played the video, I actually caught it on video. So that was pretty cool.
Interesting. Bonnie just asked in the chat, isn't there a crawler as well?
So there is, yes, there is said to be a creeper is what we call it.
Crawler,
I've never personally, I've never personally seen it, thankfully. But yes, there is said to be. I know people who have said that they have seen it, including the owner and his daughter have both seen it.
Okay. I mean, not exactly a trip to Oz or anything like that, but I mean, it would make for an interesting evening.
Yeah. I mean, I tend to think that
Eloise is known to be one of the biggest and hottest haunted attraction areas in Michigan.
Yeah.
You still don't got nothing over Ohio, so I'll give you that one. But it's so how many, you said you run the first 2 floors for the haunted attraction
Yes.
during, the busy season, which is like September to first week in November, I would say.
Correct. Yeah.
How many actors do you have portraying in the haunted attraction?
Oh, we have quite a few. I want to say easy between 150, right around
Okay.
there. I know. Yeah, we have quite a few actors. I'm head of event staff outside, so I deal with everyone that's running outside of the attraction, security kiosk, all that kind of stuff. And then we have a head of security, who runs the security team, and then we have the inside who deals with the actors and the floors. We want to make sure it's very well managed.
Now, is on the first 2 floors, is everything kept up year round?
Yeah, yep. They
Okay.
do the maintenance, the painting, yeah, all of that stuff. It's very, very well done. Like the detail. There's stuff that they've built in where you could swear it was actually part of the building to begin with, and it's not. Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Well, I mean, I guess that's what you get. We're having people from Universal and NASA working for you. So, I mean,
Yeah, no shit, right?
not a drop in the bucket or anything, but,
I thought I heard one time that some of the stuff in the haunted house is actually from like when Eloise was open. Is that true?
Yep. There are certain things that are from when the building was open. In the haunted house and in the actual haunt, we still have equipment that was used when it was open.
Oh wow, that would play a trigger object too. Definitely.
Yeah. So like if you, I believe it's the 3rd floor, they have an actual dental chair that was used when the hospital was open.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That would. Everybody's scared of dentists. So, I mean.
I'll strap you down, Russ, and pretend that you're my dental.
Yeah, it makes for very good photo ops. People love taking pictures.
I'm all about some, trigger experiments and things like that. I've laid in the dental chair at Rolling Hills. I've laid in the morgue at Waverly Hills. I've done quite a bit of things to get some. I've hung myself at Prospect Place in Trinway, Ohio. So, I mean, I'm not above the fact of trying to push to get some reactions. And I did not actually hang myself, but I mean, I'm still here, obviously.
So it's like, wow, yeah, you aren't afraid.
No, but the whole story behind Prospect Place was there's the story of Prospect Place that was part of the Underground Railroad. And a bounty hunter showed up one night, and all the farm hands and everything jumped the bounty hunter, took him out to the barn by noose, and hung him in the barn. So we got the idea, let's get some lanterns, let's get some rope, let's reenact the scene. And the EVPs we captured were actual, and I hate to say it this way, but the only way I can describe it is what would sound like old slave songs being sung in the background. Also, the fact that the rope started tightening by itself because we made more than sure to give myself enough slack. And that started to tighten by itself. And that was the time I got the rope cut off from around my neck. So.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I won't do that to myself. No.
Hey, if you want the reactions, you got to be willing to put yourself out there.
There's a picture of the dental chair.
What's the difference between doing something like that than going and sitting alone in a solitary confinement cell by yourself for an hour?
The difference between that and hanging yourself?
I had safety precautions in effect. Okay, so I mean, then again, I'm glad I had a team that actually liked me.
I know, yeah, that's funny.
Hey, I put myself out there as soon as I walk into any haunted location, Russ. You know that. I'm a psychic medium empath. I put myself in there right as I walk in. I don't need to do any crazy things.
You're
I
a
get told to
psycho.
go to the principal's office as soon as I walk into one location, okay?
You're a psycho empath. So let's get that straight.
I am not a
And
psycho empath, but okay.
and I hear about it all the next day about I'm so tired. I shouldn't have done this. I did this, and I'm really paying for it today. And I'm just like, duh.
You know, like I don't listen to what Scotty Work or anyone else tells me and shut myself down when I do investigations. But that's the fun part. You get the best
If I had
evidence.
sound effects and big red arrows, I'd be like, hypocrite, hypocrite, hypocrite.
We'll see what happens as I enter Eloise next month. You never know.
Jenny, just let her go and let her do what she wants to do. And, if you have a visitor in the next couple months, it's probably still her hanging around there somewhere.
I'll definitely point her towards the solitary confinement rooms.
Please
Put
do.
me there. You can put me there.
Please do. Padded room, maybe, as well.
See, I go to locations for like, if I don't get to do investigate, I do like the tours beforehand. I don't really like learning all about the history before I go into like a overnight type of thing because I like picking up what I pick up. But I go to haunted locations, A, for the paranormal, and then B, to capture photographs. Like I like to take photos and then like kind of do some editing and make it more creepy. So that's my thing, is the investigating and then getting the photos.
Yeah. Well, Eloise, we also do history tours, which I think is pretty cool.
Ooh. So tell people about the history tours. Like, what are the costs? When can they go? What do you get on the tour?
It's Saturday mornings. Those will probably start up again mid-March, along with our paranormal tours. You go, there's basic history, like on a slideshow type deal, and then you have a tour guide, much like the paranormals, that walk you through not only the building, but the grounds, which I think is really cool. So it shows you what the grounds of the property used to be like, the buildings that are still standing, kind of give you an overview of like what used to be where.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I think, oh, go ahead.
What are the costs for like history tour versus like the paranormal tour?
So paranormals are $99, and that's for 6 hours. So you come at night, you leave about 2 a.m. And then for the history tours, I usually don't do the history tours, but I believe they range right around $60 to $80.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and the tickets will be available on the website probably mid-March.
Okay, so people who are interested in checking out Eloise, check out the website starting mid-March for all those amazing tours. And you guys offer private investigations as well, correct?
We do, yes. You can rent out the building, and that's where you have the entire building to yourself. So, and that is also, you can email operations at asylum or eloiseasylum.com to get information on that, or check out the website.
Okay, definitely.
But yeah, and for someone who doesn't really want like the whole paranormal aspect or doesn't want to be in the building at dark, I definitely would check out the history tours.
Definitely. I'm super excited to go next month. Like, I've been talking to John about it because I'm like, I'm gonna be in Michigan for this one Paracon. It'll be super close, and I want to just come in, just check it out, and hopefully book a private for later in the spring or summer when it's not so cold. Well, cold. I don't know how cold it is in Michigan right now.
We're like 40s. We're like in the 40s.
Yeah. Well, here in Minnesota, we didn't get much snow at all this year, so it's been really nice and like calm. As I'm probably gonna like totally.
You just jinxed yourself.
Jinxed myself, and now we'll probably get the snowstorm of the season, right? We've had just like a dusting of snow this year in Minnesota, so I'm super happy about that.
Now, something really cool we talked about prior to going on air was Eloise actually offers an escape room.
Yes.
Now,
And
what does the escape room consist of? Because I know we have all like different, ideas of what an escape room is. Some are 3 hours long, some are 30 minutes long. Whatever it may be.
well, the good thing about this one is about. Yeah, let me get back to you guys. Sorry, I think my screen is glitching a little bit. Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. My screen did like a mark in between everyone. I don't know what it was doing,
No.
but yeah. So the escape rooms are about an hour long. And we actually have two. We have Escape the Asylum and we have the Heist. So they're very, very popular even throughout the year. People come at all times to do those. But yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know you can't give too much away about them.
Yeah, I can't tell any of the secrets. So
Yeah, you can't spill the beans yet about it.
but you come in and you have a game master, and it's being monitored and all that kind of stuff, and you have like certain times to get out of each room, and you have to find the clues. So it's pretty cool. But just the way that it's set up and like the theme of each room is pretty sweet.
Good deal.
That's awesome. So, any upcoming events at Eloise that people should know about?
Well, we have our Valentine's Day event. That is next weekend. So it's the haunted house, first 2 floors, but it is Valentine's Day themed. So it's cool if you want to take your Valentine's Day to something fun. That is on the 9th and the 10th, Friday, Saturday. And then we also have our first overnight scheduled for April 11th.
What am I doing that weekend? Let's see.
Oh, Jesus, Jenny.
What am I doing?
Oh, April 13th. I'm sorry, April 13th. My fault.
I'm in Iowa that weekend. I'll have to figure out a weekend to come and hang out.
Yes, it's our so April 13th is our paranormal lockdown. It's from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And you're in the building all night, which all-nighters there are just great. Yes, they're so much fun.
I'm super excited to check out Eloise. Like,
I've done a couple overnighters at asylums. They weren't by choice, but I mean, we've all been there.
we don't need to go there right now, do we?
Well, this is one place too. Like it was the last overnighter I worked. It was funny because I was like, oh, what if I can't, stay up all night or stay coherent all night to where, my questions are making sense that I'm asking.
Just put yourself in a padded room. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, we got plenty of tubs there. So, but it was crazy because usually you would think typically at a normal place it tends to die around, not didn't mean to add a pun in there, but it tends to get quiet around like 1 or 2 usually.
Yeah.
It got quiet a little bit in the middle, but then we had activity. I ended up staying all night till like 7 a.m.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And that was one of the few places that actually happened. And usually it gets quiet and then we get no activity after, like, which everyone says 3 o'clock is, the quote unquote witching hour and everything, which I'm not a firm believer in. Everywhere I've gone, it's usually the most quietest time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's very solemn. It's very like,
yeah,
almost too quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. So
you get that eerie quiet, like you're feeling like they're like gathering all their energy to do one big last thing.
Yeah.
And it usually never happens at 3 a.m. It happens like after 3.
Right. And it usually seems like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock are the craziest. That's when we seem to get the most activity. So, but I'm looking forward to the overnighter. This will be the first one of this year. So on the 13th, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. It should be a fun time.
Now, with your overnighters, you have full access to both buildings or just the one?
Just the one, just the D building, the one that's in the picture right now.
Okay.
So, and that'll be floors 2 through 5.
Okay.
Okay. So I know in both Josh Gates' show and Stephanie and Scott's, they kind of hit on the graveyard or the unmarked graves. Have you guys been able to uncover more of the graves and connect them to patient numbers?
No, not really. It's really hard to add a name to the number. I know they're still actively working on it though, but it does take a lot because there were so many patients that weren't
Mhm.
even named. I mean, in that graveyard alone, there's over 7,000, I believe. So yeah, it's a potter's field.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And that's located on the property or off the property?
off the property, it's kind of across the street.
Okay.
I
Awesome.
mean, it's sad that we look
Mm.
back at the prisons and the asylums back in the day, and that's what people were reduced to.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
Just
you
the
no longer had a
numbers.
name; you were
The
just a number.
number.
A number. Yeah.
So it's. I have been to a couple because Rolling Hills has one, Hillview has one, the Madison Seminary actually even has one that it's actually not on the property; it's right down the street.
Right. Yep. I've
But
been
they have
there.
one as well. It's just Mansfield has one. Mansfield Reformatory. They
Yep.
have it right on their property. So
Yeah, that's an amazing building too.
oh god, that was my first ever investigation I ever did.
So
And this
does
was this was
Randall.
yeah.
Randall
So I
have-
mean, a lot of these the poor farms, the asylums, things like that, where people were just dropped off at, and no care was given to them the rest of the time, and
Yeah.
it was like you were just forgotten.
Yeah. And I give a lot of credit to like the doctors and the nurses back there, and you hear a lot of bad about asylums and sanatoriums and everything, but I have a lot of friends that are nurses, and I know they genuinely want to do good, and I can only imagine what it was like back then, not knowing, especially with medical advancements, what we know now, and
Yeah.
having people just thrown at them, and they probably wanted to help, but I can imagine what it'd be like having that many people and
To take
not
care
enough
of.
staff. Yeah, it would be, you probably had a hard time taking care of the flu back then. Like that would be so stressful.
Yeah. I can't imagine.
Well, not
what-
only worrying about keeping yourself and your own family safe from, pandemics and epidemics and, I wouldn't call it the seasonal flu or anything like that, because back then we really didn't know. Influenza was a huge thing back then. So
Yeah.
we didn't really know. So these people that went in these early days in the 1910s, 20s, 30s that didn't know what these new diseases were that were coming out, and they're practically putting their lives on the line walking into this every day.
Yeah.
Just like the nurses at Waverly Hills, they knew
Yeah.
that this was a highly contagious, contractive disease, and they still went in there every day and did their job how they
Yeah.
could.
Yeah, they
So-
still wanted to help people.
Yeah.
The nurses and the doctors who worked at Eloise, did they have to stay on the campus kind of like Waverly Hills, or were they able to go back home with their families each night or day?
So I think some doctors did, and we have rooms on a few of the floors that are like wings for doctors, chaplains that would have lived on property. We actually have rooms that nurses would have lived on property.
Okay.
Now, whether or not they were like rotated or, they had to stay there for so many months and then were switched out, that type of thing, I'm not 100% on that. But we do have areas where staff would have lived.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of
Yeah.
like that. Well, I know a lot of these asylums actually built separate houses and wings and things like
Mhm.
that would house nurses, doctors, chaplains, things like that at that time. Because one of the main reasons was the patient count got so high that they needed people constantly on call to be able to handle anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just
Oh,
like
yeah.
a warden of a prison, they have to be close by if anything ever happens.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I can imagine the strain that would put on families, like, either a loved one being away taking care of other people, or the family living on property with the doctor or the chaplain or,
Yeah.
yeah,
That can't be a normal experience growing up.
no.
Mm-mm.
I mean, no, because we
No.
didn't have online learning back then. You can't just jump on a computer and do school. So
Yeah.
No,
No.
we did. So where can people find more information about Eloise and all the upcoming events, investigations, overnight, all of
So EloiseAsylum.com is the best place. That's the website. They list everything on there. We also have the Facebook page, Eloise Asylum. We will actually be starting up our lives there too shortly. Me and another investigator have been doing like live investigations from there on Facebook. So we'll be starting those up hopefully soon. And then Eloise also does have a TikTok page too.
Ooh,
But the most updated page is the website.
Okay.
awesome. Well, hopefully I will get to see you next month. If not, I will definitely make it back down there sometime this year for an overnight or a public overnight, one of the two.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. You'll love it.
I know I'm
Will
super
be.
excited. I have just over a month until I'm down in Michigan, so I'm super excited.
Yeah,
But
it definitely does not disappoint.
This is why I don't travel. I just let Jenny travel for me.
He lives through my pictures and my video and my experiences.
I do.
Come on, Rush. You got to come to Eloise. I wouldn't say I want you to try hanging yourself in the building, though, but I mean, you come check it out.
I won't hang myself. I put myself in a tub. But,
Put yourself in the tub.
you
In the
know,
dental chair.
yeah, I'll go in the dental chair. It doesn't bother me. But, no, I definitely, I need to make it out to the Midwest a little bit more. There's some locations in Ohio I want to go hit again. Definitely. Like, are you located in the UP or the LP?
No, we're lower.
You're
so
lower?
we're like, it's about maybe 20 minutes from Detroit.
Oh, so you can play a
25
fun
minutes from
game of
Detroit.
gunshot or firework.
I won't comment on that.
I'm from just outside Cleveland. Trust me, I know.
Oh my god.
At least you're not Chicago, the murder capital of the USA. So I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, right.
That's true. Yeah, that is.
Chicago, the
that's
most
right there.
dangerous city right now. Yeah, no, I'm good.
So Jenny, I normally have a couple questions I'll always ask our guests, and they become fan favorites, I guess you could say.
Just a little.
Just a little, where
Just
they've
a
actually even been copied already by other people that I've seen.
Wow.
So the first one I'm going to ask you is, what would your last meal be?
Oh, that's a good one.
If you think this one's good, just wait.
Oh my god.
Probably. I don't know. That's a really good question. I'd probably say pizza. I love pizza.
Now, we going Chicago deep dish, or are we doing pan, or are we doing?
No, let's do Chicago deep dish, like
Chicago
pizza
deep
pop
dish?
type style. Yeah.
Ooh, good
Okay.
choice.
All right. Because I don't know what the hell these people up here in Massachusetts are doing. This bar pizza thin crust shit.
I was wondering what the heck that is. Like, I see Matt post it all the time. I'm like, what the hell?
It's
It's
good
not
to an
pizza.
extent, but I grew up on thick crust, like a good pizza. Like,
No
I'm
thanks.
not this. I take 3 bites of it and I'm tasting like I'm biting into a cracker.
No,
Like Lauren in the chat room just said, Detroit style. Okay, I should have went Detroit style instead of Chicago, but I mean,
Chicago's pretty good though.
I mean, Detroit style. I mean,
Detroit's
you have to
good
pay
too,
extra for the shell casings, but I mean,
but
all right. So the next question: if you had to assemble a team of investigators, including yourself, so you get 5 picks. Now the investigators can be living or dead, fact or fictional. Who would
and
your
they don't
5
have to
be?
be. They don't have to be
It could be
celebrities, right?
some book you read when you were 6 years old. It could be, Uni the Unicorn for all I care.
Oh my god.
Okay. So I would have to say it'd be the people I investigate with normally, and that would be my friends Lauren, Kirsten, Dan, and David, and then I would probably.
Well, your whole team that you normally investigate with is being bulked into one. So don't think you're
Yes.
getting out of that easy.
Oh, so that's all one. You didn't say that.
Okay, well.
Okay, so my team I investigate with, that'll be one. Geez. I would say so if they're teams of more than one, it counts as one then, right?
If you were to choose like Ed and Lorraine Warren, they would count as one.
Okay, no, I wouldn't choose them, but so my team won.
There's a lot of controversy over that lately.
Yeah, I won't choose them. Won't choose Zach Baggins either. So,
for obvious reasons.
so that would be one. I would say the group Project Fear. That would be two.
Okay.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah, they're awesome.
Minnesota-born kids. I love them.
I had my friend Megan to there. She should be watching this too. That'd be three. I don't know who else. Do the Ghostbusters count?
That'll count as one.
Okay.
So let's do the Ghostbusters, and then let's
now
see.
She's just grasping at straws. She's just trying to can I just have this question finished, please?
Right, and then I'd probably go with Ghost Brothers because I love them guys.
They bring the comedy, that's for sure.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so to round this out, the last question I have.
Oh boy, here we go.
Jenny,
I'm excited.
This is one of your favorite questions.
Oh boy.
Now, if you could go to 5 locations anywhere in the world,
Oh, okay.
to investigate, to know the history, to do anything, there is no cost to you. You don't have to worry about, hey, I have to pay $800 for a ticket from Timbuktu to Singapore. You can go anywhere you want. You have full access to anywhere you'd like. What would your 5 locations be?
Ooh, okay. Brands Castle in Romania.
Ooh,
That's number one. The London Tower, or the bridge. That would be my number 2.
The towers of the bridge, yes.
Yes. Yeah, they were used. That's just amazing story behind those. If
no one knows the history behind the London Towers, read up on it because it's very morbid and it's very interesting.
And there's still things to see on the towers from history, like from what happened back then, which is crazy if you think about how long they've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Bell Witch cabin and cave.
Is it on Tennessee?
Yes, Tennessee. Yep. So that's number 3. I would go back to Savannah, Georgia. Multiple locations there, but city overall is said to be. Yeah. And then
that's about up there with New Orleans.
Yeah, see, that would be a really good one too. But I would have to say Salem. That's on my bucket list.
Come to my neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Don't go during September through November and you'll be good.
Yes. No, that's definitely. And the funny thing is, I don't even think it involved so-called witches. I think it was more based on land and
it was mass hysteria. They were trying to do anything they could to. No, I agree. Yeah. The thing about it is, I live up here in Massachusetts now, and I've lived here for almost 8 years now. And all my friends that are back west, they're like, "Oh, do you go to Salem all the time?" And I was like, "I used to go all the time because it was a cool town just to go hang out and just walk around in." But it's kind of the shine's kind of worn off for me because I live here, and it's I'm so readily accessible to it. I mean, I still go up there every so often because I have friends that live up there and everything like that. But it's lost that touristy thing for me. I've seen everything I've wanted to see up there, but anytime one of my friends comes to Massachusetts, Jenny, I always take her up to Salem. That it's there's must see spots around Boston and Salem and things like that. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, even Boston. I mean, the history, and that's one thing. And that's one thing about Eloise is a lot of people don't know it. It technically kind of started in Hamtramck with the first poorhouse, and if you look at it, they wanted to build a second poorhouse, so they moved it to Nanakin Township. I think I might have said that right or wrong. I always pronounce it wrong, but that's where they built the first building for Eloise. So you think about it, and a lot of people don't. I mean, if you just history in places, and the littlest, slightest thing change in history, and things might not have actually happened. It's kind of crazy when you think of it that way.
Correct.
Yeah, definitely.
That's definitely awesome. I will give you a little heads up. Salem, there are a couple places to investigate, but it's normally your tourist trap kind of thing. But I would say anybody that is planning to come to Salem or wants to visit Salem, definitely come up, do the road less traveled. Don't go to the hocus pocus spots. Don't go to, all these really well-known landmarks. See them, yes, but don't take too much into account for it. Like, it's one of those things where it's a lot's underground.
Yeah.
Not literally underground, but like it's one of those, it's
Not known as well.
Often traveled, correct.
Yeah.
So
Go check out the big ship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Salem.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of I would like to go when it's not Halloween.
I have not gone to the Vampire Ball. I have heard so much about it. And it sounds like such a cool event to go to. But the tickets are so damn expensive and it's so hard to get into.
I was wondering why you said
that would be a really cool thing to get in to go do. I mean, like I said, I'm only 45 minutes from Salem. I go up to conventions up there. I go up, on the weekends. My bachelor party was actually in Salem. But it's one of those things where I definitely love to definitely do it.
Salem's cool. I just want to go back when it's not busy.
Yeah, that's when I would like to go. But see, you're not that far from Michigan. That's what? How many hour drive? You could just skip right over here.
15-hour drive. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's not that bad.
Not that bad.
No. I haven't been back to Ohio in 5 years, but yeah, let me just skip right through Ohio and go to Michigan.
Exactly. Go blue and come see Eloise.
Like, for me, when I go to Eloise, it is 8.5 hours. And when I go to Sault Marie, it's 8.5 hours. So it's like equally the same distance anywhere I go.
Same distance.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that was probably my favorite question of yours was locations.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I'm all the way on the East Coast, like literally on the water. So I mean, unless you want me to like kind of take a boat around, which I think we're there are a couple states that are landlocked. So I'll see you in like year 2043. And you know what, Jenny, you can go somewhere with all your people in the chat room yelling "Go Blue." Harbaugh's gone now. You had your time. It's like Belichick and the Patriots. We're all here.
Sorry, I had to do, Michigan. I have to stay.
Well,
I have never been a grown man and cried so much in the last 3 years of my life than when Ohio State and Michigan played each other. I will admit that.
Oh my God.
With that being said, I'm going to go sulk into sadness again. But
no, thank you guys for having me on. This was fun.
Thank you. And I will hopefully see you next month or soon at Eloise.
Yeah, hopefully.
I'll see you soon through the Jenny 2.0 over here.
He'll see you live on my Facebook page when I am walking around Eloise.
Well, I mean, Jenny, you're only, 8 hours away from Gettysburg. You should come to Gettysburg and get a table for the bash.
Oh, I would love to go to Gettysburg. That'd probably be number 6.
28th.
Yeah, July 28th. This one. There we go. That one.
You got Johnny Zappish, you got Dave Schrader, Aaron Segers. Come on.
Dave Schrader is super nice. I like that guy.
Great event. I mean, if you guys are like wanting to get Eloise out there a little bit more, definitely a great event to go to.
Okay, yeah, we were just at the Oddities and Horror Con in Monroe, Michigan. That was pretty fun.
Oh wow.
Oh, the oddity shows are always fun to do.
Yeah.
Because you never know what you're gonna find there. Oh,
it's so true. So true.
Find at those locations.
No, I am not going to the Warrens Paracon, and that's for personal reasons on my behalf. There is some things going on with that is not my position to say, and I will not indulge that any further than what it is. But the Warrens Paracon this year is actually being held in Gettysburg 2 months after the bash at the same location. And I have my strong feelings about that one, and we'll just leave that lay where that is.
Yeah. Unpopular opinion in the paranormal world. I'm not a huge fan of the Warrens. So
Unpopular opinion in the paranormal world right now, not a lot of people are big fans of Tony Spera.
Okay, we're not going to start this.
No, we're not going to go into this. I was just throwing out there an unpopular opinion.
Okay.
That's all I would say.
We don't do that on the show.
But Jenny,
that'll be another hour.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, that'll be another hour and us probably getting canceled. We're going to avoid that right now. But no, Jenny, thank you so much for coming on and shedding some light on Eloise. Like I said, it's one of those things that these locations that are out there, like I said, you guys have kind of come up in the past years as like one of the main attractions. So I would definitely love to come check out the location. I would honestly literally love to come check out that location. Paint peeling off the walls, everything else. Yeah, I'm all set with that. Give me a flashlight and let me go. But it's great to see, especially if John got this location for $1 and seeing what he's done to preserve this location and bring it back to light. That is one of my personal missions, is seeing these locations that have had their fair share of bad luck and have been run down, but you have these people that have the passion and not necessarily the means, but the passion and the drive to be able to bring it back to what it was. And Bonnie, fly me out. I'll go with you tomorrow.
Yeah, he definitely has done a lot of good with the building. Oh,
Russ, you better watch what you say, because I can do that,
I know you can. And the last time you tried to do that, the event got canceled. So
No. It didn't get canceled. You had to work.
I had to work, but the event also got canceled. So win-win.
But John has done a huge amount of good with the building, and he's even cleaned it up, restored windows. It looks really nice in there from when I first went on a tour. But yeah, he's done a lot of good with the building, brought a lot of acknowledgement back to what it used to be too.
Good. That is something you always love to see. And that is one of my greatest things one of my strongest subjects in high school was history. And that was one of the things that if you don't preserve history, you're not going to have stories to tell for the future. And even regardless, and something I stand by to this day, is regardless of how violent, sordid, terrifying history may have been, it's history for a reason.
Yeah.
And if people don't know about this history, it's doomed to repeat itself.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I mean, I am 100% behind restoration. I mean, I help run 2 locations up here in Massachusetts that we're restoring and bringing back to the light through the paranormal, through events, through everything. And Jenny, when you come up, whenever you're coming up,
which Jenny are we talking about?
I feel weird talking to 2 Jennys here.
I was like, which Jenny?
Really throwing me off.
Which Jenny are we talking about?
Jenny Davis. Whenever you plan on coming back up to Massachusetts again, I'll give you a tour of Heart Stuff Hall and everything. Jenny, even if you want to come to Mass and come to Salem, I'll be your personal tour guide. Come on up.
Awesome.
I'll take you around, show you everything. I did it for Jenny 1, 2. I feel like I'm talking to thing 1 and 2 here right now. Like I don't know. Okay, I'm done for tonight. Jenny, you wrap up the show. Either one of you wrap up the show.
I went to Massachusetts. Well, what was it, like 3 years ago now? 2 years? He took me to Oliver Estate, right? Oliver Estate.
Yeah, Oliver House.
Yep, that place is amazing. Like, just to walk through a place that Benjamin Franklin and some of the presidents have sat in and just soak up all that history was like, in that place that these founding fathers were in.
And
I got married there.
Oh, wow. That'd be awesome.
Like, anywhere you go on the East Coast, that's just the history. I'm like, I just want to move out to the East Coast now. Like, I hate the Midwest.
That's pretty cool. You got married there. That probably was really, really nice.
Well, it's funny. We actually had a venue booked when I was getting married. We had a venue booked for up to 250 people, and then dear COVID.
Dear COVID.
Wow.
COVID hit. We already had the deposit down on the location. They would not refund because it was a non-refundable deposit. We still wanted our date that we had set, which actually was Friday the 13th. And I reached out to my good friend Christy, who runs Oliver House, and she's like, come on out. She's like, I can fit 25 people in here. Come on out, do your ceremony. Because that's when they kind of opened it back up to where 25 people could be in the same room together.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was the first place we got. I got married. I'll say I've been married 3 times, but the first one doesn't count. I've been married twice to the same woman now. So, but yeah, it was great. We got ready at the Oliver House. We did all our pictures there. It was actually very funny because we actually left a cooler, and not a lot of people know this story, but we actually left a cooler at the house. Well, the cooler and my car at the house the night of the wedding. And we went back the next day to get, the cooler in my car. And Christy was there in there, like moving stuff around and whatnot. And she's like, I came in this morning. I started my ovulus. And she's like, you're not going to believe what we got. And I was like, oh, okay. What'd you get? Got my name right across the ovulus. Got vows, VOWS, across the ovulus. Got candles across the ovulus. Got my wife's grandfather's name across the ovulus. Like, there was everything that was just leading up to tying everything together. And it was like, okay, the spirits knew what we did here yesterday. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow.
So that place is always going to hold a special place in my heart for me. Amazing location. They do some great events there. And Christy Parrish, she's now running, 7 locations. 7.
Yeah.
Out here in the Massachusetts area. And they're all historically based. And she's preserving them and bringing them back to their former life. And much gratitude and appreciation for what she's doing out there. She's a hard working Southern lady, and she definitely Spitfire. That's for damn sure.
Oh yeah,
she stands all about 4'11", and tell you what, she'll rip you a new one if she needs to.
And that's why I'm glad people, and like John, people like that buy these properties, and instead of tearing them down, they want to put the money behind them and restore them and get people in there to share the history. And I love that.
And it needs to be done more. And I see all these locations being torn down and just demolished and taking away history from everything. And I think that's one thing in the paranormal field we don't really talk about enough is what these locations mean to people.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a lot of people in the surrounding area that have come through and said, oh, I had, my grandmother here, my great grandmother here. We recently talked to a guy where his great aunt worked there, and it was just, and they have stories of their own to tell her. They want to see inside the building. They want to see where their family used to work, used to stay, that type of thing. So, I mean, it's very important that we do preserve these areas. And I love that people buy them and restore them and not just tear them down.
Yeah.
And one of the unpopular opinion, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but over in Cleveland, Ohio, you have a gentleman that purchased an old funeral home in Cleveland. And he has purchased it. He has owned it for quite a few years now. And it's called the House of Wills in Cleveland, Ohio.
I think I've heard of it.
Daryl wrote the book on it, right, Jenny?
Yep.
Yeah. I've been there multiple times, and the history behind it is very dark. Very, very dark. God, I just set myself up for failure on that one. I'm not gonna go into that any further, but he's an outspoken Satanist. The funeral home was the first Black-owned funeral home in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
And it has held rallies for the Black Panthers. It has seen the likenesses of Martin Luther King Jr. come through and visit the location. It is very, very much on the historical factor of things. And great location, great activity. But I think the newer generation needs to stop worrying about the jump scares and start focusing on preserving what's left before it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my opinion. I'm some old kook talking. So, I mean, that's just me.
Now, jump scares, do you mean like the haunted house aspect of it?
No,
or are
I'm
you
talking about the YouTubers going in there and being like, oh my God, what was that?
Got you. Okay, those two, I get what you mean.
Reactions.
Got you. Yeah.
That's just my opinion. That's just
well, no, and I think
popular, whatever it may be.
And one thing I love about how we do history tours is I think in order to even understand what could be behind like the paranormal aspect of it, you have to know the history of it.
You have to.
And the history plays such a huge part in it. And I love that we offer history tours because guests can come in and see that side of it. They can learn about patients and what the buildings used to be like and how big of a complex this was and what it did for Michigan. I mean, it was the largest complex in the United States at the time. And, we pioneered so many different therapies. And like, I love that people can learn about that before they learn about the other side of it.
Now, something I always say is, history is very valuable for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about it is, with the good of history comes the bad of history. And the bad of history is not always taught or talked about. But you're not going to have the good without the bad.
Right.
So you need to know those darker sides.
Right. That's the only way you're going to learn from history. I mean, the only way we can improve as a society or as humans in general is history. So, and if you try to block out the bad, I mean, you're going to repeat yourself. I mean, that's a famous quote in history. So, and if you don't know history, it's doomed to repeat itself.
Definitely. Well, thank you again for coming on. We really appreciate it and learning more about Eloise.
Oh, yeah. I hope you both come out. It's an amazing building. So
well, I will be there next month. So check it down the date.
I really can't say it'll be my first time ever stepping in Michigan.
Maybe we can get you a Go Blue shirt when you come.
I will investigate naked before I wear that shit. And know that I'm not a pet or a proposition. I'm just saying.
Well, that would be when Wes is investigating all by himself, he will be naked.
Naked and afraid. Great. And in an asylum with lead paint.
Oh my God, can you imagine a show, Naked and Afraid, Paranormal Investigating?
Bob Grunwald, God rest his soul, tried to do it.
Oh, that's so funny.
So, again, thank you, and I will see you or John next month when I come down to Eloise.
Sounds awesome. Well, hopefully I get to meet you, and thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, thank you again.
Bye.
Really appreciate it. Bye. So, next weekend, we have Scott Porter and Stephanie Bork on to talk about their time at Eloise. They just released their show, I think, in October, November.
It was like November. It was Secrets of the Asylum.
Yep, Secrets of the Asylum. So I'm super
excited. Now I'm not talking to two Jennys. Great. Makes me feel better. Less awkward in the head.
This is all you, Russ.
I don't know anything about this. This is the first time I'm seeing. No, I'm kidding. I will say this: April 12th today, April 12th, our murder mystery dinner, the first one we're doing at the hall, has sold out completely. That's 20 tickets in less than a week of releasing the tickets. So that is awesome. So we're having on 2/17 coming up an education night. And what we call an education night are those people that are not familiar with investigating, that don't know really how to use the equipment. things like that. So we're doing a little bit of a beginner night kind of thing. The 24th, the week after, we have research night, which this is for people that are familiar with investigating, that, know how to use the equipment, that know the history, whatever it may be, and they just get free roam of the building. At the hall, we're doing kids movies starting at 6 p.m. on the 22nd. I think, I don't know, we're kind of going back and forth between showing the Goonies or Paranorman for the first one. We're not sure. We have a mediumship circle with Julie on March 6th. That'll be a great one. Anybody that is wanting to tap into their abilities or learn more about abilities, possibly contact a loved one. Everything can be found on warnerparanormal.com. We do have a website now that actually has fully functional tickets, everything like that. Thank you, Ian Murphy, for that. He got jumped on that and got that knocked out. March 23rd, we have an Easter egg hunt coming up. Great for all ages. The kids get to hunt Easter eggs. We're going to be doing 2 different levels. We're going to be doing the younger kids, which is like 3 to 7. And then we're going to do another group that's like 8 to 12 for an older group. The murder mystery dinner is sold out, so there's no really reason to talk about that. May 19th, Wicked Piss of Spring Parafair. Great success every time we've done it. It's a great location to come check out. Some awesome vendors, some really great times. Also, July 6th, we have the Hurt and Pain summer movie series, which we normally show a horror movie or we don't know what it is, but it's a really cool atmosphere. We have a grill, we have a fire pit. We toss up a big projector in the backyard. It's BYOB, bring your own food, bring your own drink. It was great success last year, especially during Halloween. We did a movie every weekend during October. Great success with that. So definitely East Coast people, check out what we got coming up, because there are definitely some good things going on.
And then if you're near Michigan next month, I will be out at Polygraph's Parafest 5. Barry Fitzgerald, Heather Taddy, Dustin Perry.
Oh, maybe you should fly me out for this one.
John Tenney will be there. Maybe, okay. It's going to be a full core because River and Chris are coming with us.
Okay, fly me into Detroit and pick me up in Detroit.
Dude, you know how bad Detroit airport is?
No, I've never been there, so I don't know.
That's the airport almost every celebrity gets stuck at for Michigan Paracon.
Okay, well, how far is Detroit from Ann Arbor? It can't be that far.
Not that far, I don't think. Maybe.
Okay, so fly me into Detroit, pick me up in Detroit. I'll have Bonnie come pick me up. Bonnie and I will side talk this, okay?
Shit. Here we go. Maybe Russ will be coming to Michigan next
month.
month.
We'll talk, hon.
We'll talk. But this is a great event because it goes all to charity. It's for a animal shelter that he works with. Plus, Tim Malley puts on great events. So I'm super excited to be going out to that event.
Gotta love some Murray.
And then we got Christmas in July. We are official vendors. Well, Russ is too. And he's a speaker. But this
Bonnie's on board.
Oh, God. Here we go. Hey, you get to go to Eloise with us. So, ha.
Yes, Gettysburg is a great event. It goes towards benefiting kids with terminal illnesses. Also goes towards the PA Wounded Warriors. So all proceeds, literally all proceeds, ticket sales, vendor tables, everything goes towards these charities. Steve and Pam Barry, they do an amazing job setting this up, and the lineup that they have is amazing. I mean, look at this. The Godfather of Paranormal himself. You have Dave Schrader, Aaron Sagers. You have Shane Pittman, Josh Purvis. Like, you have all these people that are coming out that are absolutely amazing. And we all donate our time to come to this event. We all pay out of pocket. And I'm telling you this from experience, because this will be the 7th one I've done. And I pay out of my pocket. I pay for my own hotel, my own gas, my own travel, everything. And I do it because these charities mean a lot to me, and it's definitely a family reunion, I guess you could say.
Definitely.
So I know, Jenny, you were like Squirrel last year. You were all over the place. But every time I turned around, you were right behind me for some reason. I don't know why.
Turn your back. And what do you find me? I'm right behind you.
Yeah, and the problem with it is I stand like a foot and a half over you, so I see right over your head.
Oh, boy.
Yep, we will talk this week, Jenny. Jenny.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
All right, I need to go to
Might
bed.
be seeing my co-host next month. Who all in trouble now?
I'll bring the cup for you to drink out of.
Oh, jeez. No, thank you. I don't need Pennywise, thanks. But come back next week. Same place, same time. We'll have Stephanie and Scott on to talk about the secrets of the asylum. And then, yeah, we'll see you back next week. Join Wes tomorrow night on the same network, same pages for his return of Compass of Curiosities. He has the godfather of the paranormal, John Zaffis.
It'll be broadcasting on all these pages.
Yep. So you won't want to miss it. If last Tuesday was any indication, it'll be a great show.
Oh, this one will be fun.
Oh, boy. I see trouble happening, but okay.
Always.
Always. You never know what me and Russ are up to. You never know.
All right, guys. So until next week with Scott Porter and Stephanie Burke, we will see you guys next week. And you guys have a great week. Oh, wait, Jenny, one more thing. Prior to us getting off air, I know we've already gone about 27 minutes over. But all my prayer warriors out there that are still listening, everyone that's out there listening, please say a little prayer for Tom, Jenny's dad, Bonnie's husband. He's been going through some medical complications right now at this point. It could really use the extra good thoughts and the extra prayers. So tonight before you go to bed, whenever you're listening to this, just whisper a little something up into the air and let's hope it catches.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we'll see you guys next Sunday. Let me